Let's answer a few more questions. For example, about credit systems and the whole idea of government grants, basically how business financing will work in the future.
I believe that future financing of businesses, whether by governments or private individuals, will look very different. No one will be paying interest or anything like that. It will be very clear what is profitable, what is effective, and what genuinely needs to be scaled. Money will be invested on an interest-free basis, and people will still earn from it, because the state will be directly interested in the development of that particular technology. It will be useful and valuable for society as a whole. It won't be bought out, taken over, or flipped for resale. Resources will simply be provided, funding, specialists, support, and multiplied. But for this to happen, humanity on planet Earth needs to reach, as I've said before, at least 12% living in a state of love. And this principle will still be fulfilled. The question is how. Either that number of people remains and the rest decreases so that those in love make up 12%, or those 12% grow and the total population stays the same because more people have shifted into love. Then the scales tip and we all move into love. For now, this is just one possible scenario. At the moment, another scenario appears to be unfolding. A reduction in the population so that those living in love make up those 12%. But we still have the opportunity to start with ourselves and transform our own space, our environment, so that people can come into it and open up. Some will open very easily, others with great difficulty, and some will remain part of the general mass. The key is to invest in those who are already close to feeling and living in love.
And what about the business structures that are being promoted everywhere now? Find your niche. The idea that you just need to identify a niche and fill it with a specific product.
The key thing is that the product and the niche have to genuinely resonate with the person. If they're aligned with the soul, then it works.
That's the ideal scenario.
Yes, because if we're looking for a niche purely to make money, then we're betting on money, not on the joy of the creative process, and not on investing love into what we do. And in that case, degradation is inevitable.
And what if someone thinks, I'll make money in this niche first, and then I'll do what I truly love, because that often requires a lot of money.
That's an illusion.
They think they need startup capital first.
A complete illusion. What we need to understand is that any job becomes easier and more effective when it's done with love, no matter what it is: a janitor, a miner, a chef, a cleaner, a mathematician, an office worker. When you do your work with love, you inevitably grow into your dream. By doing what you're doing with love, you automatically close that chapter and move to the next level. I clearly remember when I was renting apartments, I treated them as if they were my own. I did renovations, bought a TV, a kettle, a good washing machine. Then I moved into a better apartment and kept doing that until I eventually owned my own place. People who live in constant saving mode automatically block their own development.
Let's talk about marketing too. For example, someone chooses a niche or even does what they genuinely love, but uses aggressive marketing, sales funnels, attention-grabbing tactics. I noticed this myself. At first, I don't even think about a product, I don't need it. But when a marketplace keeps showing it to you, constantly pulling your attention, you start thinking, well, maybe it could be useful. Maybe it's actually good. Maybe I should buy this toy for my child.
The mechanism is simple. They're trying to build new neural connections. First, they don't exist, then they appear, then they strengthen, then they become dominant. When done skillfully, this turns into your idea, your desire. You begin to identify with it. But we are trainable beings. We can cultivate taste, just like learning to eat with a fork and knife. That's upbringing. Everything is possible and acceptable as long as the person promoting it has enough inner love. That's the key.
So marketing in the future will be built this way as well?
The point is, it won't require so much time and effort. Sales funnels and aggressive marketing are mostly needed for thick-skinned audiences.
Ironically, the first ones to respond are usually the thin-skinned.
And at the same time, marketing creates an information field. With every person who enters it, that field grows. But everything depends on how much love is in it. Sometimes you get a bubble, and then it burst. That happens when false values are being imposed. It's like the real estate bubble in the US years ago. What happened there? Everyone was given credit, even people who had no idea how they would repay it. As a result, demand skyrocketed. Prices went up simply because more people wanted homes than there were houses available. And what did that lead to? People paid mortgages for years, and when the market collapsed, they had to sell their homes for a fraction of what they had borrowed because prices had been artificially inflated. And here's the key point. Everything must have its true value relative to how much love is in it. Then there will be no economic crises and no inflation.
Okay, and which niches do you see as the most in demand in the future? Can you name any timelines, say 100 to 200 years ahead, or the distant future we're moving toward?
As I see it, if we get through the difficult years of 2028 and 2029, then by the end of 2030, there will be a massive focus on health, a very strong focus.
Right now, people are fascinated by the idea of eternal life.
For eternal life to exist, there must be eternal interest, constant development, constant creativity, and constant movement from one state to another with the ability to let go and switch quickly. Right now, people don't understand this and are trying to change something on the physical level. But what really needs to change is the software.
And what about industries like agriculture, tourism, fashion?
Those are very different sectors.
Yes, but the ones that exist now.
Let's look far into the future,
Far.
where everything is based on love. And I can say this, agriculture as we know it today will not exist at all.
Then what will?
There will be an integrated ecological system. Everything will be created using printer-like technologies that produce biologically high-quality products with different taste profiles. We may still have gardens.
Flora?
Yes. What do we have now? A massive problem with genetically modified foods. In the pursuit of profit, people create conditions where what they grow cannot reproduce. It gives no seeds, no harvest. Everything becomes sterile. And when we consume sterile food, we sterilize ourselves because informationally, it is infertile. That information transfers to us, and that is extremely dangerous. Those who introduced this are, in my view, the greatest criminals, greater than Hitler, Stalin, or any serial killers combined. These are the most dangerous people of all, those who, purely for profit, created genetically modified foods. They are destroying everything that can bear fruit, everything that carries the potential for life and regeneration.
And will food produced by 3D printers actually be beneficial?
As I see it, everything depends on how much love we put into it. There is no such thing as bad or good. There is only one real question. Is there love in it?
Okay, and what about the tourism industry? Will people still travel or will they be teleporting by then? And what happens to aviation in that case?
Most likely, air travel will be replaced by completely different kinds of vehicles. There's already a trend in that direction. It will require a lot of love, but it will happen. As I see it, these will be gravity-based modes of transportation. And oddly enough, the internal combustion engine will stick around for quite a long time, but powered by hydrogen. Not pure hydrogen, but water that is rapidly converted into hydrogen, which makes it safe. Electric motors will still be used, but very minimally, because unfortunately, as of today, they pose a real risk to human health.
Looking at tourism on that scale feels a bit abstract, because people still just want to go somewhere. So will tourism as a business still exist, or will people simply download an app and travel?
Tourism will move to a different level. It's like the difference between having a physical library and just having Google. It will shift into a new quality.
Then let's look at the fashion industry. When massive shows are prepared for years, with huge amounts of human effort invested.
As I see it, the word celebration will come first. Shows will be produced in enormous numbers because they will primarily amplify large volumes of love. From that love, new processes will emerge and entirely new levels will open up. So celebration will become the foundation of everything.
Okay, and fashion itself. Clothing, for example. Neural networks are now promoting digital outfits. The idea is, why buy a million dresses you'll wear once when you can put on a digital outfit, buy it much cheaper, and look different every day?
The question is, how much love is there? Every time we wear an outfit designed by a person, that person invested their attention and therefore their love into it. Someone sewed it, someone made the fabric, someone put their focus into creating that state. That's why some brands cost almost nothing and others cost thousands. There's a reason for that. People won't buy things if there's no love in them. Even if someone tries to implant that desire into their minds, they will feel where the love is. And if there is love, they will choose it. If a person lives without love, of course they'll wear fake watches with a brand label. But we need to understand that there is artificiality, which is being heavily promoted now, and tolerance without substance, which is empty, like a cancer cell. In the end, we still have to choose what resonates with the soul. And for that, the soul has to open. The soul opens through the heart, which means through love, which means through sensitivity, which means through an increased capacity to process information per unit of time. And then we allow ourselves to be wealthy. We begin to value landscape design. We begin to value works of art. We begin to value beautiful, comfortable shoes. We begin to value interiors. We begin to value beautiful, cozy furniture. And if a person has no love, a simple bench is enough for them.
Okay. And what about the education business for children and adults in the future? We've touched on this topic before.
It will exist only as an exclusive field created by people who have reached enlightenment.
I like that.
Because children need to be educated not just in love, but in massive containers of love. Here's how it works. Children before puberty possess incredibly powerful divine energy that actually builds this world. They need to be infused with enormous amounts of love and information connected to creativity and a sense of beauty. From puberty onward, you can start giving them technical skills, things they can apply and execute. So before puberty, the foundation must be beauty, creativity, and harmony. Everything that exists contributes to this enormous potential.
And what will happen with space exploration in the future? Will there be private space companies, or will technology go in a completely different direction?
As I see it, interest in space will cool down significantly, and it will be handled by narrowly specialized scientists within the research community.
So not many people will be eager to fly into space? Space tourism, for example.
Let's start with this. How many people today are genuinely interested in diving into the ocean in a submarine, going deep underwater? Some are, sure, but if you look at the overall population, it's not something everyone talks about every day.
Space is similar. Not everyone talks about it, but some people do fly.
Exactly. It will exist in that same slow background mode, because real space exploration will begin only after we put things in order here, on planet Earth. The moment we multiply love here, we won't need astronauts anymore.
Because it will be interesting enough here?
There's another option.
Which one?
When we live here in love, other civilizations and extraterrestrials will come to us themselves. And our plans to explore, say, Mars, will look not just like kindergarten, but like the babbling of a 3-day-old child.
So they'll come on their own?
They will come attracted by that love. And they'll come specifically for information. How is it possible that there is so much love here?
I feel the same way. That whole idea of searching.
Remember what I said. What exists in the micro exists in the macro. Want to find a life partner? Change yourself. Create a lot of love within you, and that person will appear.
Wow.
If you want a good job, become a professional yourself, and the job will be offered to you, or it will come to you naturally.
And if you want to find a good extraterrestrial,
start loving your planet and create conditions for its development. Extraterrestrials come to the planet, not to us personally.
Thank you. That's all for today.
Until we meet again.
Until we meet again.
Wishing everyone all the best.